So, very excited to be here today and talk about salary and transparency. I wanted to start off by asking how many in here has heard of our buffer before, if you could put a hand up. Oh, wow, quite a few. It's cool. Now, how many of you have heard of buffer because of this online spreadsheet? Oh, a few. Wow, I'm really happy about that. Transparency is such a huge thing for us at Buffer, so I'm excited to hear that some of you have heard of us because of it. And I'm going to elaborate or dive in a bit deeper today. For those of you that didn't put your hand up, I'm going to elaborate a little bit. So one of the things that many people know Buffer for is because of our transparent salaries. Our salaries are not just transparent for the company, but they're also transparent for the world. So you can find this spreadsheet just by Googling Buffer Open Salaries, and you can have a closer look at what I earn, how it's built up, and you can have a closer look at maybe what someone at Buffer in a similar role to you earns as well. So if you look in the top corner here, in the Google Sheets, you can see that at this time when I took this GIF, there was a total of 8 people having a look at our salaries. And that's completely normal to us. This is actually in European time, so at US time, there's normally a few more having a peek at our salaries. So today I'm here to talk about transparent salaries at Buffer and how they have impacted us as a company in the last 5 years. So I'm assuming that some of you in here have started a company, or maybe you've been involved at a company at an early stage, or maybe you're starting a company right now. And so as many of you would know, as you start a company, you start hiring, and you start thinking about what am I going to pay my new team members? And so the challenge with that is, how do you determine what to pay your new team? How do you set a value of what someone does at your company? And what if they disagree? Do you then negotiate? And are you paying people fairly? And if you aren't, what if they find out? These were all things that our co-founders, Joel and Leo, were faced with back in 2013. And they decided to hone in on one of the things that we value at Buffer, which is to work smarter and not harder. So together with the team, we're about eight of us in total, in 2013, we settled on a pay system that would be fair, easy to implement, and accountable. So we have had transparent salaries and a transparent salary formula for the last 5 years at Buffer. And for us, it's working incredibly well. We have people are happy, the team is happy, we're paying people equally, and yeah, there are a lot of benefits that I'm going to go through with you all here today. Now, I know that a lot of people tend to have strong opinions about salary transparency and whether or not it's something that you all are comfortable with. And I'm not saying that transparent salaries is for everyone, or that you should run out of this presentation and put all your salaries online as well. But if you did decide to do that, I would definitely agree. That would be a good thing. We've had now the opportunity to have transparent salaries for the last 5 years. And we definitely, you know, it might take a little bit of time to recognize the benefits of transparent salaries. And we do have the advantage of that. But we're very intentional about the future of transparency at Buffer. So we do spend a lot of time reflecting on the impact that transparent salaries has had for us as a company. So let's have a look at some of these benefits. And who knows, maybe some parts of this would be something that would be a good fit for your company as well. So one of the key reasons transparency is such a key value for a company is trust. As we often say at Buffer, transparency breeds trust. and trust is the foundation for great teamwork. And I'm not just saying that because it sounds good. There is research that backs up this statement. One Harvard study looked at just how well employees at a high-trust organization performed and felt in comparison to a low-trust organization. And the results are pretty incredible. So if we look at here, we can see that 74% experience less stress, 106% had more energy at work, 50% had a higher productivity, 13% less sick days at high trust companies, 76% felt more engaged at work, and 29% were more satisfied with work. And they experienced 40% less burnout at high trust organizations. So this is huge. There's a huge difference. And not only does trust lead to a better working environment for team members, but it also breaks down barriers within a team. And what I mean when I say that is that as we default to transparency at Buffer, we aim to share every idea, every new direction very early on before something is completely solid. And by doing so, morale remains high. And so, for example, I aim to never have anything come as a surprise to my team. So nothing that is sent out really will come as a surprise for them. They've been involved very early on. And by having a team with high morale, you have a motivated team. So we've found in the last 5 years that we've been able to really achieve a lot with a relatively small but motivated team at Buffer. So for us, transparency have helped us create a great company with fulfilled and motivated team members. Everyone understands why they make what they do because we have our transparent salary formula. And they know what everyone else at the company, what the company makes. So we have no pay secrecy. And I believe that when you have pay secrecy at a company, people are more likely to feel underpaid and maybe even discriminated against. Whereas when you have pay transparency, you increase the feeling of fairness and team collaboration. So we form a very close bond as a company. This is a few people from my team, because there is no secrecy that kind of taints our relationship. We work together really well. And even as so we're also remote. So even as a remote company, we're able to form really close relationships, and we work extremely well together. So we need to be as transparent as we are, not only in salaries, but also in all other areas of Buffer. It keeps us accountable to the wider audience. We need to have good reasons to do the things that we do, because we will be heavily scrutinized for our decisions, not only by the world, but more importantly, by our team. So this is an example when we launched our third version of our salary formula. So we keep iterating our salary formula. And just after we did that, John here, I hope you can see, reaches out to us at Buffer, just asking, why are people on the marketing team, why are they paid less than people on the product team or engineering team, but they seem to be on a similar kind of level? And this is a great example of the type of conversations that we open up to by having transparency and by releasing our salaries like we do. So then Joel, our CEO, jumps in here to answer John and explain a little bit more about our salary formula and the way it works, and give a little bit more context around why there is this discrepancy. And in this instance, a lot of the engineers have been around for a long time and are a bit more senior. And John completely understood. And as I said, a great example of the type of relationships that we build with our customers and followers of Buffer. And since then, John has even been involved in helping our marketing team with some SEO projects. So this takes us to the very hot topic and discussion around equal pay. So at Buffer, when we remove location and we assume that people are all placed on the right experience level, men and women in the same role are paid the same. We have no salary gap. So this has been the case since 2013 when we brought out our salary formula. So yes, if you go back to the online spreadsheet and you want to have a closer look at how this looks like in reality, you can see that if you look at directors of engineering, we have two. We have Dan and we have Katie. If you look at the column with the base salary, the 50th percentile of San Francisco's market rate, you can see that it's the same. They're paid the same. Now, if you, however, look at men and women at Buffer, regardless of their position and experience level and what they do, we do have a 9.25 pay gap at Buffer. And we will continue to have this pay gap at companies, tech companies like Buffer, when the highest paying job in the market, such as engineering, is predominantly done by men. Now, this is something that we're working on changing at Buffer. If we look at the 9.25 in comparison to other tech companies in the United Kingdom, we're doing okay, we're doing pretty well, but we can definitely do better. And as I said, in 2018, this is something that we're working on as we're hiring for more engineers and as we're actively trying to improve our application pool and our team, the diversity of these. So it seems that we attract people that want to work for us because we value transparency. It is sort of an unexpected result of transparency salaries. But when we first released our transparent salaries to the world, we received 128 more applications in the month following that decision. And this was huge for us, this extra interest as a growing company. And we were able to attract talent from all over the world. As we continue to have our salary transparent, as well as our salary formula and our hiring process, we continue to also see a high number of applicants for each role that goes up on our job page. And not only that, people that apply, they're very well informed about Buffer and culturally aligned, which is this huge first step on the way. So our employees, the team, they really, really appreciate the transparent way that we run Buffer. Not only are their salaries transparent, but also all other areas of Buffer are transparent. So we share strategy vision, company vision, strategy, hiring, budget, revenue. When we went for fundraising 4 years ago, we shared all of that as well. And I found that this constant inclusion makes the team feel safe and fulfilled. And it seems that we have even shown that we enjoy our workplace that much that it's been named one of the best places to work at. And that's a big proof for us at Buffer that our team is happy. And it was only released yesterday that we're included in Inc.'s Best Workplaces Award for 2018. So pretty excited to share that with you all today. So we do a lot of experimenting with workplace culture at Buffer. It makes us us tick, makes us really happy. We want to be a company that keeps improving and keeps creating a better workplace of the future. And we absolutely believe that transparency is core to the workplace of the future for the many reasons that I've gone through here today with you all. And transparency has, for us, helped us create a better workplace, but it will continue to do so in the future. So, to recap all of the benefits that I've so far gone through with you, salary transparency breeds trust, which is the foundation of great teamwork. It helps us create a better company culture. It keeps us accountable to the entire world, and more importantly, our team. It helps us support equal pay, which is extremely important in today's society. It helps us hire smart. And then it's something that our team love. And it helps us to create a workplace of the future. So there are different levels of transparency, and especially with pay. And Buffer, we're on the radical level. But I think there's a lot of companies now that are starting to release their salaries internally, transparently. And that's great. That's a great start. Transparency doesn't have to be as radical as it is at Buffer. We also started by releasing our salaries internally, just sharing it amongst the team and the formula to begin with, and then eventually we released it to the world. As a company now, about 70+ people, it could have been easy to let the transparency erode with our growth. This happens as a company gets bigger. We become more complex, we have a lot of edge cases, and we definitely have a lot of voices at Buffer. Despite also challenges that we've faced, we remain fully committed to the radical, transparent way that we run Buffer. So I'm going to leave you with a couple of questions today to take away. The first one would be, what would the world look like if we didn't keep salaries a secret? Would we eradicate the gender pay gap? Finally, I want to say a huge thanks for listening to me talk about transparent salaries and how they've impacted us as a company, all the benefits that we've seen in the last 5 years, and how it's really helped us create a great company culture. So if you want to learn more about transparency or transparent salaries, you can have a look at these links, or you can just Google transparency at Buffer. If you want to follow me on Twitter, that would be great. We can talk more about transparency. Thanks, everyone.